Hi, I'm Julie Brunner, your instructor. In the first 3 modules, I introduced the basics of resale restricted housing and I explained affordable pricing. I showed you how to calculate an initial sales price so that it's affordable to home buyers at various incomes. Then I went through the details of the fixed rate resale formula. In this module, I'll continue with another resale formula that's typically used in resale restrictions to keep homes affordable in the long term, the index-based formula. Let's get started.
By the end of this module, you'll be able to create an index-based resale formula for your program, project a future resale price based on that index-based resale formula you crafted, and explain the pros and cons of the index-based resale formula. The index-based resale formula is very similar to the fixed-rate formula that we discussed in Module 3 in terms of goals, calculations, advantages, and disadvantages. A few quick reminders. There are 3 basic types of resale formulas used by resale restricted homeownership programs. Fixed-rate formulas, which I discussed in Module 3, index-based formulas, which we'll discuss now, and appraisal-based formulas, which we'll discuss in Module 5. Our goals for any resale formula are to ensure ongoing affordability to future home buyers and ensure a fair return on investment to sellers. In the last module, I defined formula price and equity, 2 key terms for understanding resale formulas. The formula price is the maximum allowable resale price. It's calculated using a formula in the regulatory agreement, such as the ground lease or the deed restriction. Equity is the value of the home minus any outstanding debt, such as the outstanding balance on a mortgage. In Module 3, we discussed fixed-rate formulas, which are simple. You take the affordable price the homeowner paid when they purchased their home, and you increase it by a fixed multiplier, either compounded annually or with simple interest, to come up with the formula price. In our Coffeetown scenario, our fixed-rate multiplier was 1.5%. This seemed like a good conservative rate to use, since it was slightly less than the average increase in incomes for the past 10 years. The index-based formula works in essentially the same way. You again take the affordable price, but this time you multiply it by the percentage change of a published index over time instead of by a fixed multiplier. Proponents of the index-based formula tend to prefer it because it directly ties the resale price to some economic index within the community. The argument is that if we tie the price to something like median income and incomes go up significantly, it's okay for our prices to go up significantly as well. Proponents of the fixed-rate formula, on the other hand, prefer the slow, steady nature of the fixed-rate formula over a direct economic link that often comes with spikes and troughs. The most commonly used index is the area median income. If I'm trying to make sure my program remains affordable to a specific income range, it makes sense that if I tie the increase in sales price to a change in incomes over time, my homes will remain affordable to the same income bracket as my original buyer, providing interest rates remain the same. While AMI is the most common index used, it's not the only option. In some areas, the Consumer Price Index may be a better choice as it tends to track wages more directly than household incomes. It also tends to change more slowly and more regularly than Area Median Income Index does. So if you're striving for a slow, steady increase in value, the CPI may be a good bet for your program to use. And there are other options as well. Which index you choose should be a function of your programmatic goals and a careful analysis of the historic trends in the various indices available in your service area. It should also be something that's easily accessed and regularly calculated. Let's revisit the scenario we worked together on in Module 2. As a reminder, we calculated our affordable price to be $150,000. In Coffeetown, we decided to use the area median income as our index for our resale formula. We did a quick assessment of AMI and saw that incomes increased on average 2.2% per year for the past 10 years. That sounds like a nice, slow, steady pace. But if we go back 20 years, we'll see that during the previous 10 years, from 1995 to 2004, incomes increased on average 7.7% per year. So as you can see, it's important to look at the historic data and consider where your economy is in an economic cycle before you decide on an index. In Coffeetown, I think the boom is over, and therefore the AMI is not likely to jump as it did 2 decades ago. So I think the AMI is a safe bet. Now let's assume that 10 years have passed and our homeowners want to sell their home. They contact us and want to know how much they can sell their home for. In the fixed-rate formula, we simply multiplied the affordable price of $150,000 by 1.5% compounded annually to arrive at a formula price of $174,000. For our index-based formula, we need to look at the AMI at the time of resale and compare it to the AMI at the time the home was purchased. Note that we're not compounding the rate for each year of ownership as we did in the fixed-rate formula. We're looking at the AMI index at 2 points in time and using that total percentage increase to find the resale price. So now we multiply our original affordable price by 22% to calculate the increase in value and arrive at our formula price of $183,000. Because we set our index in this scenario to be equal to the median income, we hope that this new formula price is affordable to the next home buyer at the same affordability level. However, if interest rates have gone up, this might not be the case. As I mentioned in Module 3, the formula price sets a cap on the maximum sales price. It's not a guarantee. There are two general approaches to addressing the market cap of the formula. It's either the lesser of the formula price or the appraised value. And in this case, if the market falls, the program takes 100% of the loss in value. Or the lesser of the formula price and the homeowner's share of the appraised value. The homeowner's share is calculated as the ratio of the buyer's original investment to the original market value. In this case, when the market falls, both the program and the homeowner take a hit. Watch Module 3 for a detailed comparison of the numbers for both of these alternatives. Because we chose the area median income as our index, we hope that this new formula price is affordable to the next home buyer at the same affordability level. However, if interest rates have gone up, this might not be the case. Now we need to decide if our formula yields a fair return to the seller. The first two steps in our calculation are exactly the same as what we did in the last module. We calculated the outstanding balance of the mortgage that must be repaid and found that the homeowner still owes about $122,000. Then we estimated the seller's closing costs at 5%, or about $9,000. So starting with a formula price of $183,000, we deduct $122,000 for the outstanding mortgage and $9,000 for closing costs, which leaves the sellers with about $52,000 in cash at closing. Now we know that a 22% increase on the initial sales price will result in a formula price of $183,000 after 10 years and an estimated equity payout of approximately $52,000. Is that a fair deal when you compare that to the homebuyer's alternative of renting? Now you need to step back with your staff or board and consider if this outcome is in line with the programmatic goals of maintaining affordability while ensuring a fair return to the seller. If the formula price is too high to be affordable to our target market, or if the cash out is too low to be considered fair, we must go back to the top and reconsider our formula. As you might have guessed, there are some significant advantages to an index-based formula, and they are very similar to those outlined in the fixed-rate formula, with a few additions. In addition to those, the biggest advantage in using an index-based formula is that you can tie the formula price directly to changes in median income. This allows you to ensure that your homes remain affordable to your initial target market, providing interest rates don't change significantly. One of the most significant downsides of an index-based formula that's quite different from the fixed-rate formula is the sporadic nature of many indices. If you choose an index like the AMI, it can be sporadic with several flat or even declining years followed by large spikes and increases all at once. The outcome of this is that some sellers receive no increase in value and others experience a windfall in just a few years. It's possible, however, to mitigate the windfall by putting a cap on the average annual increase in AMI as part of your formula.
This concludes the module on index-based resale formulas. In the final module, I'll walk you through the details of an appraisal-based resale formula. Thanks for joining me.